Dear friends, hello, how are you doing today? April 20th, the 26th day of Nisan, the 24th installment of our Corona Inspiration series, where we are trying to turn the experience that we're having now into a positive in our lives and looking from different points of Judaism with guidance to be able to make that happen fully and completely for ourselves and our family. So today in the morning when I woke up, it looked like a beautiful day. I was looking out the window. The sun was out and really looked like a beautiful day. And I was thinking, in the last month where we've been in isolation and quarantine, and most people are not really leaving their homes or maybe for a bit, it's very different than before, where though we had our home, but we were more outside than inside. We were going out several times a day to work, to other activities. We were as much outdoors as indoors. Today we're mostly indoors and we just happen to go out a little bit. So today we look at the world, we see the world from inside out. From our house we see the world outside. Very often we see the world from outside in. We see our home from outside to the inside of our home. And this is not something insignificant. And actually, it's something that's very significant and to help us understand what Judaism is really all about. Because as in this period of time, between the holiday of Pesach, Passover, and Shavuot, when we left Egypt and when we got the Torah, it was all part of one long process as we were preparing to receive the Torah. And what was so special about receiving the Torah at Mount Sinai? What was the great event of giving us the Torah? Is the Torah just a book of knowledge and wisdom, that God had given us some wisdom to be able to help us in our lives? But as Jews, we know that the Torah is so much more than just wisdom. Torah gives us a different perspective. Not only is it a book that tells us how to live, but it gives us a different perspective. Whose perspective? It gives us God's perspective. You see, this world that we live in, we look from within this world out. Look at our infatuation with outer space, to conquer the moon, to get to Mars. Private companies are trying to get people onto spaceships that they can just experience what it is to get out of this place. We are looking from inside this world, Earth, the planet Earth, to outside, to know what's going on outside. God, what's happening, where He is. But there is another angle, and that is to look from outside, from heaven, into this world. It's interesting, those who have taken the trip to space always talk about how when you look from out of Earth into Earth, it's a very different Earth. Here, when you look at Earth from inside, we look at it only from one angle. We're only able to see what's close to us, what's right next to us, in the direction we are facing. We don't see the bigger picture. We don't see how everything meshes with each other. It's like you go to a sports event and you're in a stadium. Wherever you are, you see only what you're able to see from that angle. But someone who's on the opposite side sees a very different angle than you. And someone who's sitting in a different area totally sees a different angle. But when you put a blimp above and you look at the stadium from above, you see a whole different event than the people who are inside. And so it is in life as well. We are looking from inside out, trying to figure out what's going on outside. Where is God? Where did it all begin from? What is the purpose of it all? What's going on behind the scenes? What's going on outside of what we live in? The Torah gives us a perspective of outside in, of God, the way He sees the world. God sees the world, not only He looks at the individual and He looks at every one of us uniquely and specially, but He sees us as well as one of many billion. Not that we're insignificant, but the role each one of us plays is part of the mosaic of the world that exists today. And not only that, but He sees us today in our time as part of a continuum from past generation and the generation before that until the beginning of time from when God created the world. So God has a very different perspective of the world. And that is one of the reasons why in Judaism, when we look at events that happen, we don't isolate them. We say they're usually part of a bigger picture that we don't fully understand. Only God, who has created the world and who's running the world and sees the world in his perspective, is able to understand. And when God gave us the Torah, he gave us a glimpse of his way that he sees the world. Through Torah, through the study of Torah, through doing the mitzvahs, we start seeing the world from outside in. We start seeing the world from a place where we can understand to a certain extent that there is a bigger picture happening. That we are big, part of a much bigger continuum of humanity. That we are part of a much bigger project. The project counts in every one of us, but we are part of that bigger project. And when we see the world in that way, time and space have much less meaning for us, because it's not only what happens at this moment, at this time. It's not only what happens in this space, but it's part of the bigger world. It's part of history and the future as well as the present. And this is why the beauty of Torah is why it's so important for us to study Torah and to delve into Torah and to do the mitzvahs. Gain God's perspective. It's not enough to look, as we look at our homes now, from inside out. We have to start looking from outside in. So even when we're sitting inside our homes, through the Torah, we're able to get the God's glasses, his virtual reality, and to see the world in his way and appreciate that our actions are much more meaningful than we believe, that our existence is so much more important than we usually give ourselves the credit for. And most importantly is that when we see it from God's perspective, we start being able to do acts and behave in a way that's superhuman as well. So I leave you with this today. Have a great day and a great week and many blessings.